Hey guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws, BLUESAWS.com. Hope everybody's doing all right. I doing pre-flights on saws, and I pulled this blue 44 back, and I left it out here just. I could forget. I have ideas for videos, and then I get busy and I forget to make them. So I left it out here purposely. It's only been out here an hour or so. So it would remind me that I wanted to make a video. So the next time I walked by it, I said, let me grab the stand and make a quick video. So I got a really good question the other day from a customer. He says, hey, and it was funny, he's hip to saws, this fella, a little bit. He said he was a steel tech, gold tech, doesn't work for the steel dealer anymore. Now he's working for himself, has a shop doing real well with it, and needs help with clone saws. He says, has customers buying eBay saws. He said, I see them. They've gotten a few seconds. They've lasted a week and blown up, but they know they could do better. So they came to him. He came to me and had some questions. The first question he had was, do you know about these saws? Look like they're used, and we went into it, that whole thing. The next thing we talked about was, well, should they go with 44s or 46s? So that's kind of an interesting discussion, and I'll hit the big bullet points on it. 44 versus 46. In the past, the 44 had a better cylinder, period. Lately, the G466s have had nice cylinders. Okay, that's no longer an issue. The next thing, the 44 versus 46. On the 466s, I see a lot more of those crappy Anaconda carbs. I don't like them. They don't run. Listen, it's 50-50 with them at best. And really, I think it's more 70-30, but I'll say 50-50 to give them a break. They're junk. They don't tune right. They don't sound right. You can't get them to lean out correctly. I'm good on the Anaconda carbs. And that being said, more often than not, the 44s come with the HLIC golden. On the 460s, it's 50-50, so you'll be going in for a new carb on a lot of 460 buys. The next thing, the 44s have disappointed me over the last, and I'm going to tell you this is going on for 6 months. If it's 4 months, if it's 8 months, I don't know. 6 months, I'll say. The oilers have been unusually frugal on the 44s. I don't know what happened, but they don't put out oil the way I would like to, and I think that I see a lot of them are frugal to the point I'd be hesitant to run a 28-inch bar unless I was thinning the oil and getting that thing to pump more, which is a whole nother discussion, whether you could just thin oil, it'll pump more, but does it lubricate enough? Listen, we're not talking about a high-performance German engine with crazy tolerances and a piston. You're talking about a chain rotating around a bar, and to be honest with you, in my opinion, you get pretty much by with any bar oil within reason. And there's reasons we don't use dirty motor oil, because we're not scumbags trying to fling dirty motor oil over people's properties. Although you would save a ton of money doing that, I still wouldn't do it. It's kind of like throwing cigarette butts and beer cans out of windows of cars. You can, but I tell you not to. The next thing between the 44 and the 46, not only is the oiler more frugal on the 44, the 46 design is a better design. I have never liked the design of the 44 oiler with that little arm that plugs in, because more often than not, I've seen problems where the little O-ring where it plugs into the cases gets a little goofy, leaks. I just don't think the design's as good, plus it doesn't put out as much. And we don't have a high output option available for the 44. I'm going to look into some other ones. I'll see about, I might even have highway ones on hand. I'm going to test out some other 44 oilers, see if there's an alternative that we like better, and I'll go to some of my other third-party non-Farmertec vendors and order oilers and see if I could find something. I've told you in other videos, the problem with that is if I order from 4 different vendors, in Asia. I'll say Asia because it's not always China. And I order from these guys over there. Two of them might just be Farmertec ones again, and then two have different models that they're making or somebody else is making. So that's always fun. Then you get them in, test them, and what's your time worth, and do customers appreciate it? Yeah, I know some of you guys really appreciate it. But for the most part, when you got these eBay and Amazon saw guys, they don't care. They just want a cheap saw. They don't think about it. They burn up a bar. They're going to cut wood for, 10 minutes while it looks fun. And they're not going to get that saw out again for 2 years. These Amazon saw guys tend to be different than real saw guys. I don't know how to say that without sounding offensive, but that's the truth of the matter. So I don't like the design on the oiler. I've never liked that bushing on the 44, although that's not really a big deal. And I'll be neutral about that because maybe that makes seals easier for some guys if they have to do seals. So I won't say anything about that bushing on it. What else between the 44 and the 46? I think those are my big things. Potentially bad carb versus a potentially weak oiler. Pick your poison. They both run real well. They're within 8 ounces of each other. Power head weight only with no fuel. When they're fueled, it'll be more than 8 ounces because the 46 holds more fuel and bar oil. Maybe that means something to you. Trying to think if there was another big thing. That was it. I just wanted to touch bases on this. This one actually had a bad tank vent and it didn't get the pre-flight. I think I might have said I was pre-flighting them. I was just doing the free flight check before we send them out. Ran like a beast. It's a good running saw. Oiler's a little frugal. Tank vent was leaking, and I know I'm not doing the pre-flight on it, so I shouldn't be looking, but it's really hard for me. I notice things as I'm doing saws, and if it ain't right, I'm not sending it out that way, because that's the benefit. You don't get jacked up stuff. Anyhow, oh, that's the other thing. On those tank vents, 3-4 years ago, there was a lot of bad tank vents. A lot. I don't get as many bad tank vents now, but one of the things I will tell you, if you have a tank vent, you pop it off, you can't blow through it, you can't suck through it, it's plugged. What happens a lot is there's a little rubber tube in there, and it comes together like this, and it has a seam down the middle, so it's a one-way valve, okay? And that one-way valve will be not sliced correctly, so what you can do is take a sharp, pointy X-Acto knife, poke it in the tip, make a little hole in the tip, and that one-way valve will work perfectly and you'll have a functioning tank vent. So it's a quick little tip. They're relatively cheap. I was throwing a ton of them out and I'm like, why is this? Looked one day, noticed that it didn't have the split in the tip, poked a bunch of them, worked fine, so I didn't have to throw out those. But again, the parts are cheap, and sometimes for me being lazy, it's easier for me to throw them out. Anyhow, guys, I think that's a video. I'm going to get this packaged up, so when UPS shows up for their pickup, this will go out, or maybe this will go USPS. I don't know till I do the shipping. True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws at BLUESAWS.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. It's June. We're finally out of winter in Pennsylvania because it's been winter all the way up to June. Anyhow, guys, be safe.